The Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield entered the draft with them being stuck together, and they exit the 2022 NFL Draft still stuck together, with Baker Mayfield still being a member of the Cleveland Browns roster. Now, draft night would have been the perfect time for the Browns to unload Baker Mayfield and trade him to a potential partner. Maybe it could have been the Atlanta Falcons, maybe the Tennessee Titans, the Carolina Panthers, New York Giants. But one team I'm surprised that did not make any moves for the quarterback position, and that would be the Seattle Seahawks. And that is the team we're going to talk about that needs to trade for Baker Mayfield right now. But before I get into that, make sure you guys leave this video a like, as that always helps this channel to grow. And as usual, if you are not subscribed to the channel and you enjoy football content, click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post on this channel. But let's discuss why the Seahawks need to trade for Baker Mayfield. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I almost went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
The Cleveland Browns find themselves in a very interesting position at their quarterback position. First off, they ended up trading for Deshaun Watson, giving up 3 first-round picks. Then right after that, giving him a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed deal. And on top of that, the Browns ended up signing Jacoby Brissett to be his backup in free agency. With both of those moves, they still have Baker Mayfield on the roster, who has an $18.8 million cap hit this year as part of his 5th-year rookie option. The deal is a little bit beneficial for them as of this year, as in Deshaun Watson's base salary is a little over $1 million with a $10 million cap hit, but you have Baker Mayfield sitting at the $18.8 million cap hit and an $18.8 million base salary. So the Browns are in a position where they need to get off of that money at some point, because you're paying nearly $20 million for a quarterback that's not even going to suit up for you when you have Deshaun Watson and Jacoby Brissett on the roster. Now, Baker Mayfield has already voiced his displeasure with the Cleveland Browns, and whatever happens with the Deshaun Watson situation, they are not going to have Baker Mayfield as a backup or as a complimentary piece or anything like that, because of his unhappiness with the way the Browns handled the entire situation with him this offseason. So the best move is to trade Baker Mayfield at some point. Now, it is going to be extremely difficult with the high salary number and the fact of a lot of teams this offseason have already made their quarterback decisions, have made their moves going forward. One team that needs to make a move at some point, and I think that point is now, is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seattle Seahawks did end up trading Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. In return, they did get a complimentary quarterback in Drew Lock, and they did ended up re-signing Geno Smith. But looking at both of those quarterbacks, they are one and the same. While Geno has been a somewhat starter for the beginning of his career and has been a backup the last couple of seasons, Drew Lock has been in and out of the starting lineup for the Denver Broncos. I think at this point in each of those quarterbacks' careers, they're both at the same position where I think they're better as backups versus a starting quarterback. Now, it is going to be difficult for Seattle to take on Baker Mayfield's $18.8 million, but if this team wants to contend and still wants to compete for a playoff spot, which I believe they have a roster to do, even without Russell Wilson, this Seattle Seahawks team now can still be a very competitive roster. Now, it was surprising that they really did not make any moves in this draft to situate their quarterback spot, even drafting Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, Matt Carroll. It is very surprising that the Seattle Seahawks did not make their move in this draft. Albeit this quarterback draft class is not really one that is highlighted in this year's draft. It was not really one with high future franchise quarterback players. It was not really one that can come in and be an immediate game changer, but I still believe that the fact that they should have made a quarterback move. And Baker Mayfield can come into the Seattle Seahawks team, and I think they can have a higher ceiling and a higher potential than they could with Drew Lock. Drew Lock has struggled for most of his career to really get his footing under him. And I don't think a new change of scenery from the Denver Broncos is going to change anything. He did have the keys to the car with Denver. He was given the keys, he was given the offense, he was given a chance to succeed as a quarterback in Denver, but none of that happened. So I believe if the Seahawks were to trade for Baker Mayfield, it gives them a higher potential to win this year. Now, of course, it's the $18 million question that the Seahawks have to answer as to whether they would believe in Baker Mayfield over Drew Lock. But speaking from the Seattle Seahawks standpoint, you have to be a contending team now because you have an older coach in Pete Carroll who I believe is not going to stay if the Seahawks are really going in a rebuild direction. And to keep Pete Carroll around, who I still believe is one of the better coaches in the league, this team has to be competitive. And you will be more competitive with Baker Mayfield versus Drew Lock. Baker Mayfield can do some things out of the pocket. Baker Mayfield can do some things in the pocket. He has the moxie, even though he is questionable at times. He does have a little injury history, but most of that was during the 2021 season where he battled various different injuries. This Seattle Seahawks team, they have a higher potential with him versus Drew Lock, who hasn't really shown much ability to be a consistent starter in the NFL like Baker Mayfield has. Now, Baker Mayfield is not going to set the world on fire. He is not going to give you a Super Bowl. But at Pete Carroll's point of his career, at the Seahawks' point where they're kind of stuck between rebuilding and contending, I believe Baker Mayfield with the Seattle Seahawks roster will give Pete Carroll a better chance to make the playoffs, even though they are a very tough division in the NFC West with Arizona, with the defending champion Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers, who also have their own questions to answer at the quarterback position. I believe if you get Baker Mayfield onto the Seattle Seahawks roster versus Drew Lock or Geno Smith, pairing him with guys like Noah Fant, who's one of the better tight ends in the NFL, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, the Seattle Seahawks team has a better chance of having success right now and possibly for the future if Baker Mayfield pans out versus you would with Drew Lock or any of the quarterbacks that were in this quarterback draft class. So the Seahawks, as we stand right now, they are at a point where they need to trade for Baker Mayfield. But hey, those are just my thoughts on that whole entire situation. Leave you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I would really appreciate what you guys have to say. Leave this video a like. As always, it helps beat the YouTube algorithm and helps this channel to grow. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, if you reach this point, click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss a single video that I post on this channel. But I am APWSPORTS signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.